Hi folks, this is vid number 6, and this is a short story about my older son Brian's first duck hunt. My older son Brian called this evening, and I told him I was randomly documenting events related to the deputy years and things we experienced as well. He reminded me of the first time I took him duck hunting. A couple miles west of Mahoopany was a large tract of land owned by the electric company called Scottsville. In fact, that area was the originally proposed site of the Susquehanna River Dam to create a supply reservoir and the building of a nuclear power plant. The plant was eventually built in the Berwick area, about 40 miles south of us and on the west branch of the Susquehanna. Along with some friends, we started the Russell Hill Sportsman's Club. Meetings were held in my garage. One of the first things we got involved with was getting the Game Commission to get the electric company to enter a forest game agreement for the Scottsville area. That holding was either 12 or 1,400 acres. It's been a while since I thought about it. There was a mile of riverfront, and the local farmers leased the lowland fields and mainly planted corn. A forest game agreement would treat the land with the same rules and regulations as the state-owned game lands. The agreement was established with the understanding that Wyoming County game officers would patrol it on a regular basis. That was fine with us. Of course, Lou and I lived the closest to Scottsville. I explored the property extensively on foot and got to know it fairly well. I found a small beaver dam about a half-mile off the dirt road. The place was loaded with woodies and mallards. Brian was 12 and he had attended hunter ed class and got his junior license. I had bought him a 20-gauge pump shotgun. We had shot clay birds and cans a number of times, and he was ready when duck season arrived in October. The best time to hunt ducks is the first light in the morning or late in the afternoon. Of course, he had school, so we went to Scottsville one afternoon after he got home. I parked my truck in a designated parking area, and we grabbed our stuff and hiked back to the pond. Oh, I don't want to forget about Duke, my trusty golden retriever. He was a super dog. He would point in the field and flush birds in the brush, and he lived to hunt ducks. Never came up short on a pheasant or a duck. Onward we hiked. When we got close, we quietly approached the upper end of the pond. About in the middle was a small island about 6 feet long with a small white birch growing out of each end. We had hip boots on. I told Brian to walk slowly and quietly out to that island and stand between the two birches and give me a wave when he was ready. I had Duke on a leash. Brian inched his way out to the island. On the far side of the pond was a heavy stand of hemlock about 50 feet in front of Brian. The pond was only about 3/4 of an acre. The dam was on the other end with a lot of brush in the middle. He gave me a wave that he was ready. Okay, here we go. I unhooked Duke and told him to put him up. He trotted along the shore towards the dam with his nose in the air. He negotiated some brush and I lost sight of him, and then I heard it. Splash! Duke jumped the ducks. All of a sudden there was a wall of woodies flying past Brian between him and the hemlocks. There were at least 50 ducks. He was in shock or something. He just stood there with his mouth open and turned his head watching as they flew by. He gained his senses, but too late. He did take a fleeing shot at the last duck, but he was about 50 feet behind it. I didn't say anything. I just grabbed my boonie hat and tried to pull it down around my neck. We had hiked so far in hip boots, and that was the result of his first duck hunt. Then Duke came back and looks at me with that expression, "What was that?" Then he shook off right next to me. It was close to quitting time, and we headed back to the truck. And that's the end of Brian's first duck hunt. Once again, I wish everyone all the best.